Hi everyone, I'm Erica Leon and welcome to my webinar, Positive Body Image and Healing. I really believe that this is such an important topic. This really is, as people always say, it's the last piece of healing from an eating disorder. I don't agree. I think it's one of the first parts of healing from any kind of chronic dieting, disordered eating. And I was telling Ashley that I went to a workshop to be trained in facilitating body image discussion, and it was, to be honest, it was actually transformational. I didn't expect to feel how I felt, and I didn't really plan to do what I'm doing now, but the weekend changed how I see things. So with that in mind, I'm going to explain a little bit about some of the things that I learned and what I plan to do moving forward. Okay, so the objectives is to just share strategies. Now, don't laugh, just say to learn to love your unique body. A lot of people say, how can I love my body? But I will get there and you will understand what I mean. We're going to practice some skills of embodiment so that you can start to be in your body. We're going to do a mindfulness meditation, which, by the way, I'm going to point out that if you're not comfortable, it's going to be about 3 minutes. You can either go get a glass of water, do something else, and come back, or give it a try. Just 3 minutes. We'll be talking about our own unique body stories and finding our ancestors in our body stories. And today we'll just be talking about challenging some social constructs of what beauty means. This is really just a little sort of a dipping our toes into what does it feel like to practice this body image. Okay, so you're undoing years of dieting and restricting, undoing beliefs about dieting, food, and body image that are ingrained. And it's very challenging, whether you know where they come from or not, they're there. So we're going to talk about embodiment as the foundation of the body positive, which is what I will be talking about. So there are 5 competencies that I'll be covering when I do a program about body positivity. The first one is reclaiming health, practicing intuitive self-care, cultivating self-love, declaring your own authentic beauty, and building community. So first, I'm going to talk about reclaiming health, and that's mostly what I'm going to talk about today, is to learn to become the authority of your own body by sorting out facts from distorted societal myths that we have about health, weight, and identity. That does involve things like understanding health at every size and intuitive eating, but it is really much more. It's about being embodied, seeing where we are in our bodies, how we feel, and how we can use that for healing. And it's because only you know your true thoughts, feelings, and experiences. You know, no one else knows what you have, what you feel in your body. The second principle I'll just say is practicing intuitive self-care. I'm going to move on. This cultivating self-love, which is actually one of the more difficult concepts, expanding your capacity to employ compassion, forgiveness, and humor as you leave behind your need for self-criticism. This is probably the most challenging of the modules, and I really experienced it this weekend, how we can develop a practice of self-love. And also declaring your own authentic beauty. Ashley and I have gone back and forth talking about the word beautiful, that you don't want to call people beautiful, you don't want to comment on their looks, but this is going to take a more comprehensive approach to what beauty is and what it means. See, exploring beauty through a body positive lens helps you appreciate and respect yourself and others, and looking for beauty in other places than just visual. Okay, moving on. And the last one is building community, evaluating the way the people in your life and the media influence your relationship with your body. Okay, I'm moving on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to the wisdom of our bodies. This is the part where we do the guided meditation. So this will be 3 minutes. If you're not comfortable, again, you don't have to close your eyes. You can listen and decide what you want to do.
Begin by bringing your attention into your body. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable to you. You can notice your body seated, wherever you're seated. feeling the weight of your body on the chair, on the floor. You can take a few deep breaths. And as you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen, enlivening the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxing more deeply. You can notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor, the weight and pressure, vibration, heat. You can notice your legs against the chair, pressure, pulsing, heaviness, lightness. Notice your back against the chair. Bring your attention into your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Take a breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Feel any sensations in your arms. Let your shoulders be soft. Notice your neck and throat. Let them be soft. Relax. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Then notice your whole body present. Take one more breath. Be aware of your whole body as best you can. Take a breath. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Okay. So just think to yourself for a moment what that felt like. It was really inviting you to think about the parts of your body and just noticing. It wasn't any woo-woo, breathing heavily or anything like that. It was just starting to pay attention to textures, to taste, to sensations. I noticed a little bit of soreness in my lower back. I noticed that I have like a kind of a buzzing sensation on the back of my hand. It's just so interesting when you actually pay attention. And so we're going to do an exercise right now. I know there's a bunch of you, but we're doing something that's called the body story. And this is a practice that lets you consciously examine all the messages that affect your current day relationship with your body. So I think it's important to kind of look at our stories. Messages can be specific, such as a single comment that caused you to feel shame about your body, to broad, such as the pressure you may have felt from the media's impossible beauty standards, or a childhood centered on someone's insistence that you lose or gain weight. Your body story might have self-acceptance. It might be quite positive. Maybe you had a sibling who taught you the value of being independent, or a parent who really honored your creativity. Perhaps a trusted person outside of your family told you that they loved you unconditionally just as you are. I'm going to invite you to discover how you may have internalized messages from the outside world and how these turned into either a critical or a supportive voice of your own. The influences you uncover, whether they're buried deep or on the surfaces of your consciousness, they really exert a very powerful force on how you exist in your body today. So I'm going to invite you all just to stop for a moment. And this is a very tactile experiment where you're really invited to find a piece of paper somewhere. If you don't want to do that, you can just think about this and think about drawing your body story as a flower or a tree. And the reason being that represents another living, growing entity. And I'm just going to say you can't do any of this wrong. No one's looking at you. No one's watching you. You're alone with yourself. Please don't criticize it. This is, you really can't see this, but I want to show you that this is my body story that I did this weekend. And what I'm going to show you is these bottom, on the surface, bottom are roots. There's roots under the surface. There's a stem and there's flower. So I actually did it more like a tree. And these roots, I'm going to give you an example of things in my body story that I found. Was kind of thinking about what my childhood was like, the kinds of messages that I got. And I was told that girls should be pretty and small, and that the way to keep your weight down was to smoke, if you can believe it. All kinds of crazy messages. I also got the message that girls don't really exercise, that that's really for boys. So I have a lot of, thinking about what is below your surface, what your story is, what messages you got. The stem I'll be asking you to look at is the messages that affect you today, and the flower or the tops of the trees is how you envision your body image to be moving forward. So now that you saw what mine was like, which I just did kind of a quick job, I'm inviting you to draw the roots of your flower and to add in or think about the messages, positive and negative, that you were given about your body, whether it be from family, friends, your community, television, magazines, doctors, church, the culture when you were young. And you can just think about it if you choose not to draw the flower, but if you're up for it, I invite you to try this activity. It's actually a lot of fun and can be quite emotional. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to just start to think about what are the roots of your flower, of your body. Someone over the weekend talked about her body, her roots being growing up in a family with all boys and being a kind of a tomboy, as she described it, and really valuing physical activity, not really thinking much about her body. Another person talked about how her body was shamed from a very young age, and that really influenced the message that she got about her body. Other people talked about the influences of commercials and television and the media. So think about what messages, again, that you received, both positive and negative. So these are some of the questions when you write down what you think about your influence as a child. What were you told about eating and exercise? What messages did you get about the size and or shape of your body? Where did you learn what was acceptable and unacceptable regarding your body? Now I'm going to invite you to draw the stem of your flower or the tree trunk. And this is where you can explore how you are currently in relation with your body. What messages do you currently get from the outside world, including people that are close to you? How do you currently speak to yourself about your body? Is it kind? Is it critical? Take a moment and just think about this. You can write it down or not. What do you currently believe about health, weight, eating, and exercise? How do your beliefs influence your self-care practices and your self-talk? Are you someone who feels comfortable in their body and really thinks about moving as a form of self-care, or are you struggling and saying mean things to yourself, which is rather common, and those negative voices making it hard to eat intuitively or take care of your body in a way that's comfortable, satisfying, nourishing? Just something to think about. Now I'm going to invite you to draw petals of your flower or or the top of the tree to show where you'd like to be in your relationship with your body. What would a peaceful relationship with your body look like? How do you want to feel about your body? And how could this relationship blossom? How would having a peaceful relationship with your body create freedom to be more present and engaged in other areas of your life? This might be challenging for some of you, and if that's so, don't worry. You certainly can think about what you imagine, or if it's hard for you to do for yourself, you could think about someone that you know that is comfortable in their own body and thinking about what works for them. How is it that they are comfortable? What messages were they given? Is this something that you'd want for yourself? What would life be like if you weren't stressing about what you wore, what you looked like, whether your pants were tight or not tight, what the scale says? These are all just things to think about, not to stress about. So, on that note, I'm going to talk about something different. And then we'll be able to, at the very end, open up for discussion so that we can talk a little bit about some of these constructs I'm talking about. What is beauty? It is definitely a social construct. We think about beauty in the world. We certainly know what diet culture tells us is beautiful, certain shape, certain size. And it's usually one size, and I'll say small. And obviously, we don't all meet that social construct of what beauty is. So I'm going to invite you for a moment to think about your ancestral beauty. I love this concept because it helps you to think about the aspect of your beauty that you inherited from your ancestors. Like maybe you got your nose from your grandmother or your knees from your father. Maybe you inherited your great-grandfather's musical talent, or your handwriting resembles that of your uncle's. I'm actually always amazed when I look at pictures of my father who passed a long time ago, how, sounds crazy, but I have his same exact muscular legs. I have his same nose, and it's really keeps me bound to him, even though he's not here. I think about my strong shoulders and how I'm built athletically, kind of like my father. And I think, wow, that helped him escape Nazi Germany, that strong build. So whatever it is that you think about in your body, I'll give you another example. My big belly is the same exact one that my mother, my brother, my sister, and my grandmother and my great-grandmother had. And that belly gave me two beautiful children. Is just another way to think about your body and imagining what your ancestry is like, and why we all look different. And to me, that's beauty. Each person has a whole history of people going back years and years, hundreds of thousands of years, back to the first human. And think about what makes you unique. And if you're adopted, or you don't know about what your family looks like, think about what you would imagine it would look like. You can imagine it. Or think about your caretakers or your parents or whomever watches you or has watched you and is in your life, and think about what attributes they have that you'd like to imagine as part of you. Again, just something to think about. So I think I just said this, but if you don't know any of your ancestors or don't feel connected, use your imagination to create the ones you want, or find your beauty in people that you know. For example, someone who was adopted who did this practice said her eye color came from her father. And she shared the same eye color as her adoptive father, who she was very close with, and that's how she connected to her ancestral beauty. Just a nice thought. So I'm looking at the time, and I'm going to I know you all know about health at every size, but if you don't, this is really one of the first competencies in being embodied and comfortable in your body. So I'll go through it quickly. Health at every size is a philosophy where we support people in adopting health habits for the sake of health and well-being and not weight control. Health at every size encourages eating in a flexible way that values pleasure and honors internal cues of hunger, of satiety, of appetite. It's finding the joy in moving one's body and becoming more physically vital. And most importantly, it's accepting and respecting the natural diversity of body shapes and sizes. And this is what I think is helpful when you think about your ancestors, what their body types were like, where they came from, because there is diversity. And just like there's poodles and Great Danes, humans are meant to come in all different shapes and sizes. And this is my favorite picture I show in every presentation I give. That is me several years ago. And I am 5 feet tall and shrinking. And that is Emmy. She was the first supermodel. She's like plus size. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. The first plus size supermodel. This was at a gala for eating disorder treatment several years ago. And I love to just look at this. And I think, why would our weights, which are genetically predetermined, be any different than our heights? Like, how could I in a million years imagine being 6 feet tall like Emmy when I'm 5 feet tall? And there's no hope for me in getting any taller. Just like there would be no hope for her in getting shorter other than, chopping her head off or cutting my legs and like putting something in between. And that's what we try to do. We try to manipulate our weight because somehow the messages that we've gotten in this crazy culture tell us we should be one size. And I say, hell with that. It's crazy. And then what are the messages that we've heard about health in the media? I mean, all of it really affects our self-esteem, our body image. We've heard that health depends on weight. The thin is healthy, fat is unhealthy. The messages we get: eat healthier and you'll be better, you'll be healthier, exercise more, you'll be healthier. And again, we just know that that doesn't work. Oh, this is the part where I talk about, yeah, this is the good part. Ashley, can you come on and so I can see you?
Yep.
Okay. So I didn't know that this is what I was going to do, to be honest, after I did this amazing workshop over the weekend. I thought I was going to share some little tidbits that I learned about body image. But the fact is that the experience I had was and what I showed you just a little bit of was a little tiny touch of some of the things that we covered. Talking about our ancestors, talking about our beauty, talking about really getting comfortable in the skin you're in is work. And doing it with others, sharing your histories, sharing your struggles. Something by the way, I didn't really talk about was our identities, which are so important. There's so many things that I couldn't discuss here, but we all have identities. We all have intersecting identities. Some of us may have been in marginalized bodies, in communities where we feel oppressed, and all of these things influence our body image. And so these are many, many more themes that we'll be exploring. But I decided that it's so cool that I want to make this into a program, a body image program called Beachbody Positive. And it's going to be a 6-week program. And I'm just sharing the cost. It is going to start in January because no one is interested in doing anything right now. Holidays are coming up. Well, you might be interested in having support, but not starting anything very new until January. So the cost of the program for a 6-week will be $397. I'm starting this program with Ashley, by the way. Ashley, can you say something? Tell people how fun we are?
Sure. So this webinar is really like an introduction to a lot of this work.
A very small introduction.
Very small introduction. As Erica mentioned, this is guided by the Body Positive, which is an organization that certifies people in this course. So, we have this curriculum to sort of guide us, as well as, Erica's personal take on a lot of the issues.
And Ashley's, by the way. We have Very, very interesting and diverse backgrounds, but we complement one another.
Yeah. So, I think that most, if not all, people who have come to our support groups, because we've had various support groups, intuitive eating groups, they all have gotten a lot out of them. We tend to keep them pretty small so that we can have some good interaction, and participants can sort of make a little community within it. And sorry, my dog is um but yeah, we come on and we talk, and we sort of, in this case, we would be talking about our bodies. I mean, we talk about our bodies in all of them basically, but we talk about,
Much more discussion of our bodies.
yeah, we talk about our bodies, we talk about the struggles we're having because of our bodies, or like, I know personally I've been recovered for years, but the moment I am struggling with something just in life, I immediately blame my body. I think it's a knee-jerk reaction for a lot of us. And interrogating that, and sort of being able to talk back to that, and even replace it with more compassionate, more helpful language, is sort of the point and the goal of this program that we're gonna put on. So if that's something that you're needing help with, we would suggest that you come, as well as the Eat, Live, Nourish support circle. That's the support circle.
Let me show you that. I'm going to actually go like this. This is a membership program that I have, a private Facebook group, and let me show you what we have. It is a Facebook support community where, I'm just going to say, twice a month there are Facebook Live Ask the Dietitian calls. We have teaching calls just like this once a month. We have group support circle calls, and by the way, extra support calls for the holidays. I have a full self-study program called Intuitive Eating Essentials as part of it, if you want to learn about intuitive eating specifically. And I have a new option for people that really need help with planning meals, meal ideas. I have a special menu meal planning option that I use. The fee is $67 a month, or if you wanted to buy a full year, it's $650. This cost of the 6-week program that I'm just touching on very lightly, very briefly, is going to be $397, and it's going to start in January, as I said. Now, I do have an offer if you want to join the Eat, Live, Nourish support circle now. The special deal will be the new program starts January, $397, or join the support circle now with a special annual fee of $597. If you do that, you get the full year of the support circle and the 6-week body image program and recordings of everything. So that special offer is good if you sign up by Friday midnight. That way you're going to get the 6-week body image support group as well as Ashley and me for a whole year.
And the other perk of that is, not only are you going to get the live body image program that we've been talking about, but you also have access to Erica's Intuitive Eating Basics course, which is going to be renamed and reformulated. But the essence of it is, we recorded, I believe it was 6 sessions
Yes.
of support calls with intuitive eating participants from our last, or I guess it wasn't our last round, it was a couple of rounds ago.
It was a really great class. It was such a great class that I asked them permission to let me use them as examples, and they all said yes, because they wanted to share the message.
Yeah. So it's really great experiential learning. It's really great, like, we all sort of want to be able to have a community to go to, and sort of ask these questions, these basic questions that, we face on a daily basis about our bodies, about food, about intuitive eating, about health at every size, all these concepts. And, most people have all the same questions to some degree. And so having this as a resource can be very helpful, as well as the fact that you get to put a face to it. You also get to see people at different phases of healing this part of their life, which is
Yes.
really helpful. You know, you can sort of see people's progression and sort of see really how this growth occurs, which I think is really essential in a process that doesn't have very tangible markers. You know, it's sort of,
Yes.
it can feel you know, with the scale, there's a number, there's a way to measure success, right? Lots of air quotes there. But you know, with something like this, where it's really about changing your perception and changing a lot of what's going on up here, you know, it's really hard, I think, to look at yourself and be like, I'm making progress. And sometimes, you know, being able to say I'm making progress is the thing that keeps you going. So, you know, I think for that reason, the recordings of previous support calls is actually a really great resource. As well as the fact that all of the support calls that we do, we record and then post in the private Facebook group. So even if you were to miss one, you know, if you aren't able to make it live, you still be able to watch the replay, as well as the Facebook lives. You can submit your questions ahead of time and then watch it later if you're not able to make the actual live time, because obviously everyone's lives are difficult and there's a lot going on.
Right, and questions come up. And I'll just make a point that the group starting in January will be one evening. Usually, I'm going to say, Ashley and I haven't quite figured it out if it's going to be a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday. We will figure that out, but it's going to be at 7:30 Eastern time, so that if people are on the West Coast, they also can hopefully participate. But again, all the calls will be recorded. And what else? The new program is going to start in January. It's $397. Or join the support circle. And by the way, I have plenty of people in the support circle who are on this call. You're in the body image class. Don't worry. It's a perk. But if you want to join the support circle, you're getting a significant discount by paying $597. You get a full year of the support circle and the 6-week body image program. And again, lots and lots of support. And that special deal, $597, is if you sign up by midnight. So you may wonder, okay, where the heck how do I sign up? I also have a coupon code, and I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to email it. The coupon code for the deal is November Deal 18. Gives you the annual support circle, again, and the body image program. So if you don't want the support circle, you know, $397. Otherwise, you get a special deal for the full year. And since
I think that it's actually a really great sort of conjunction program, because the support circle, and people who are in the support circle, please feel free to comment in the chat box. But I think the support circle is really nice to sort of just have a free forum to just really just work things out with one another. And being able to do that alongside a more structured course, like the body image course that we're going to run, is really helpful, because sometimes you don't get as much time and space to really workshop a lot. Like, you know, like Erica, in this presentation, you showed us like 2 or 3 different tools that we're going to be using to sort of explore our body image and change the way that we think about our bodies. And that process is long and hard and difficult. You know, you're digging up trauma a lot of the time. And so I think that having a space to really flesh that out with like a licensed professional, rather than just getting the tools, is really helpful. So especially if you don't have a treatment team, or if you're not working with a therapist, I would recommend doing the support circle in addition, because having that I was going to say support, but that feels redundant. But I guess having that support is really important in this kind of process.
Okay. The new program is going to start in January for $397, and that's for a 6-week program. Or you can join the support circle now. And by the way, get support during the really difficult holiday season. This time is tough for anyone in any body. Seriously. And in the support circle, I plan to have even more support calls. We usually have one a month. We have 2 a month planned for this time, and we probably do a little bit more because it's really hard if you've been struggling with body image, with disordered eating. It's like, oh my Lord, I'm going to be with my family, and what's going to happen? You know, what are they going to say to me? Are they going to comment on my body and how I look? Did I lose weight? Did I gain weight? It's very stressful. So the new program in January, $397, or join the support circle for $597. That's a special offer. And I am going to email every single person who is here and give you the code and how to sign up. There is a special coupon code, November Deal 18, but I have to send it to you. So may I say thank you for being so patient. You can also email Ashley at admin@ericaleon.com, and or me, Erica, at ericaleon.com. It's on my website. Let's see, any more questions?
No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay, and I'll say thank you, Ashley, for helping me. I really, I look forward to learning more about each and every one of you.